So we've dedicated the past half an hour to understanding how numbers are panned out in India and India number compared to the world. Let's now take this forward with our guest this morning to make sense of these numbers and are they telling us a story here. Now we're joined by Dr. Giridhar Babu and also Dr. Yatin Mehta. Thank you both doctors for joining us this morning. Dr. Mehta, to you first. At this point when India is about to break a world record in terms of daily spike in numbers, we're expecting the numbers to come out any minute now as I speak with you in fact, and they are estimated to go over 80,000 in just one day. We are talking now a day after Unlock 4 has been implemented. The country is opening up, the numbers are rising. Please make sense of this for us.
See, the numbers are certainly going up and it is a matter of concern. But partly, some of it was expected because as the lockdown eases, because of the so-called necessary economic activity, the numbers were expected to go up. What were the lockdown supposed to achieve? It was supposed to achieve creation of infrastructure and protective equipment for the doctors and ventilators for the patients, which is what it was done. It was not permanent cure of the pandemic as such. So it is certainly a matter of concern, but we have enough ICU beds at the moment. But the main thing is we should not go easy on the protective advice which everybody is giving, which is masking, social distancing and gloving. I think we must do this. Otherwise, we do not have the infrastructure to fight the battle like what the Spain and Italy and US and UK got into trouble. Our infrastructure is much less than them and we will not be able to cope with it. So
Dr. Giridhar Babu, we have seen you've been actually working very closely with the Karnataka government as well. Help us understand how is the government seeing this entire pandemic rolling out. Also, I want you to take a minute to understand that we've seen a dip as well. We've been talking and bringing out those graphics for our viewers that we saw 2 weeks ago. We saw a major dip in numbers, in the R factor, in the growth rate as well. So what has changed suddenly?
Yeah, so let me explain on what's happening with the overall situation in terms of the numbers. Yes, it appears that we should be concerned about increase in number of cases on day-to-day basis, but then there's also a reporting error. By that, what I mean is, if you look at the states that are reporting well, they're the ones which are having better or higher number of cases. For example, Andhra Pradesh, it tests around 66,328 per million population, whereas therefore the number of cases obviously are going to be higher because they're going to probably contain the transmission also much faster. And also if you look at their mortality rate, it's 0.9, which is much less than almost half of what India's overall mortality rate is.
But Doc, is it really that simple? Because yes, India is testing much more now, but a lot of these tests are the rapid tests.
Yeah, so let me explain on that, Sonal. So now, if you do not test, you will not find where the infection is. So you will have to use both rapid antigen test and RT-PCR in the most judicious manner. And ICMR has got a protocol which includes both rapid antigen test and also RT-PCR. So what Andhra Pradesh has done is simply this. They've expanded this testing strategy. They've detected many people as early as possible, and therefore they're able to reduce the mortality to much. It's an enviable number, whatever they have achieved. So, but in what we generally understand is the state which is reporting higher probably has higher burden of the disease. I'm actually worried about the states which have higher burden but not testing well, not reporting well, which have higher population density than Andhra Pradesh. So I think we should not just be...
You're talking about states like UP and Bihar.
I mean, there are many states, not just UP and Bihar. Even if you look at Madhya Pradesh, the neighboring Telangana, if you look at their testing numbers and compare it to the states which are reporting higher number of cases, all the states that are reporting high number of cases are the states which are testing high compared to the rest of the states. So
but still the question remains, why are we not being able to contain our death rates? I mean, UP, in fact, states like Maharashtra, for example, losing 300 lives in a day to the virus. That has to be something to... I want Dr. Yatin Mehta to answer that also, please.
No, see, our mortality still remains low. It's less than 2%. So that is not that much of a concern, as the numbers certainly are a concern, because 5% of the patients will land up in the ICU. And do we really have the infrastructure to cater for these sort of patients? Because about 30% of them will go on a ventilator. So at the moment we are coping. It's certainly a matter of concern, but the mortality is not that worrying, and numbers certainly are of concern, which were partly expected. But we have to be very, very vigilant. We cannot take it easy and go swimming or go party. We should not do that. It's very difficult till the vaccine comes.
Right. Doctor, I'll come to the vaccine in just a bit. Dr. Giridhar Babu, come on. The fact on the R factor, on the reproduction factor, that is said to be a key in giving us an indicator on how long this will last and how potent really the virus is. To our viewers, basically, the R factor is something that tells you how infectious the virus is. On that, Dr. Babu, what are you seeing?
If you see the overall pattern of R naught, or what you call as basic reproductive number, and how it is changing over a period of time, it is showing signs of decrease in some states, whereas this, I mean, we need to understand this.
It showed signs of decrease. In fact, as we speak to you, we've got graphics on the screen as well. It did show a dip earlier, but now it's back up.
Yeah, so once the complete unlocking process is going to happen, with more and more people trying to come out of, even now as we speak, there are many people who have self-imposed sort of lockdown. They don't want to come out. But the more people come out, the more there is a risk of having infection, especially those who have comorbidities and elderly. Once they contract the disease, who are sort of protected all these days, they're at the higher risk of mortality. So therefore, we need to be, as my colleague doctor clearly said, as we are opening up, we need to follow public health precautions of whether we are wearing masks, washing hands, or avoiding crowds, which is very, very important. I'll always say avoid 3 C's: close space, close contact, and crowd-like settings. By doing this, we will be reducing the mortality and also the...
But many in the country don't have the liberty to do that. That's my bigger worry here. But Dr. Mehta, you were speaking about the vaccine. Is that the ultimate hope at this point, really? Because the health minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, just about 3-4 days ago, came out to say that by the end of the year, we should have a vaccine. There is also a growing concern that now we are getting into the festival season. It's Onam today. We are going to be heading into different parts of the country. We'll start, celebrating other festivals as well. At a point like this, are we just pinning all our hope in the vaccine? And is that a good thing?
Well, there is nothing else to do. What else can we do? I mean, we have all the medications available. We have created the infrastructure. Our doctors have learned over the last few months how to treat these patients. We have had major lockdowns, about which there was a lot of debate everywhere, whether to do it or not. We have suffered financially tremendously. What else can one do? But I expect that I agree with Dr. Harshvardhan, by the end of the year or beginning of next year, that means Jan, vaccine would come. Vaccine is not a foolproof thing which will cure everybody. It will has about 70%, I would expect, efficacy. But it can be given to all the high-risk people, and we can substantially reduce the morbidity and mortality once the vaccine is available. And India has the wherewithal to manufacture large numbers, fortunately.
Dr. Babu, my last question, really, I want to take that to you. You said about the 3 C's that people should be following to ensure that you keep yourself safe and keep away from the virus. But like I said, there are not many. In fact, the majority of the country cannot afford to do that. What do you tell those people?
No, in conditions where you cannot avoid the crowds or close contact, the easiest thing, which is universally feasible, is wearing masks and washing hands regularly. This will have to be followed in every circumstance in order to contain the extent of the spread that we are seeing now.
All right then, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.